is dense with hickory smoke, working its magic on racks of marinated ribs. The cornbread's rising in the oven and the chicken's been fried to golden perfection. Welcome to the delicious down-home world of American food, regional and finger-licking. Join our food safari to learn how to make the stickiest, most tender ribs on the barbecue. Chesapeake Bay crab cakes, Tennessee fried chicken, jambalaya and cornbread from the deep south, Californian fish tacos, plus a sensational pecan pie.
Food in the US actually is much better than Australians generally imagine. There is lots of prepackaged stuff, a lot of fast food, but there's also a lot of great produce, a lot of great products. They call America the great melting pot, people from all over the world coming and then over 2 centuries blending all their cuisines together. And that is really what I think American food is.
George Francisco was born in Mississippi in America's South and trained as a chef in Virginia before cooking in San Francisco and now in Australia, heading up the acclaimed Jonah's Restaurant, perched on the cliffs of Sydney's Whale Beach. George, you can't think of American food without a lot of meat.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think that's one of the reasons why the hamburger is so popular. The other thing would be ribs. Like beef ribs, for one, are big with everyone there, and even pork ribs is one of the best. Just dig in and eat and get it all over your face kind of dish.
Yeah, yeah.
And nothing goes better with corn on the cob than ribs, I don't think. Turkey is one of the cornerstones of what I think is the best food experience in the States, which would be Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving has always been my favorite holiday because it's the one day all Americans actually eat really well. The new way to cook it, or the most popular way lately, is to deep fry it whole. I actually have a great recipe where I soak it in Jack Daniels for a couple of days and then deep fry it. It cooks in about 40 minutes, even really large ones where it would take 3-4 hours to cook it normally.
Wow.
And it comes out just perfect. It crisps up the skin so nicely, it cooks all through, and it comes out much juicier than normal. Wow. It's a beautiful way to eat it. We love our seafood, just like I think most people in the world do. Specifically, I love crab. I still think the blue crab is the #1 crab in the U.S.
Some of the great crab recipes, what would they be?
Crab cakes, for sure. That would be the #1.
What's the closest thing Australia has to clams?
Vongole is a clam, in our opinion. The cherry stone clam is the one that I think is predominantly used for clam chowder, which is a clam of probably about this large and has a really sweet taste. And in the New England area, they actually eat them raw, which is, it's a step if you've never done it before.
The American Guide to Veggies, tell me.
One of my favorites, actually, and it's really well known, I think, because of the movie, which is fried green tomatoes. And it's usually just sliced, a little bit of, well, we call it cornmeal, but it's very similar to semolina flour. We'd be dusted on it, and then it would just be lightly fried and served just pretty much like that with a little bit of salt. It's excellent. And then another thing is corn. Corn is, I think, one of the staples. It was one of the key ingredients in the first Thanksgiving. It was one of the key ingredients that the Indians taught the early settlers to use.
And it is native to America.
And it's native, and it's a beautiful thing to have. I don't think you can talk about American food without talking about packaged goods. And one of everyone's favorites in pretty much the whole world would be Tabasco. And what it is it's a vinegary chili sauce. And it works great with Mexican food, American food, any kind of food.
Some dishes you can't make without particular spice blends, can you?
That's true. A key thing in the South and in most of the country to make your favorite crabs or some of your favorite shellfish dishes, you need what's called crab boil. And there's 2 significant brands in the States. One is Old Bay Seasoning and another one is Zatarain's Crab Boil Mix. You can add it to crab cakes in the mix. You can add it to prawns or something like that. There's just endless varieties of things you can do with it. Most of them contain paprika, a bit of chili, black pepper, spices that they won't tell you, and it's their secret. Well, We're to the grits, and I've got to say this is one of the things I've really missed.
What is a grit? I have no idea.
Okay, well, grits is a product of hominy, which is corn that has been soaked in lye to remove the outside shell of each corn kernel. So then the next step is to dry it and to grind it. And the grind would be a bit more coarse than a polenta. And what it's used for predominantly is for breakfast. It's like a porridge, but it's a corn-based porridge. And what people put on it is what makes it more interesting. Some people put maple syrup or brown sugar or butter or crispy bacon into it, or everyone's got their special way of eating their grits. And yeah, my personal favorite would be a little bit of brown sugar and some butter.
For centuries, the North Americans have perfected the art of barbecuing, using a number of different techniques to build in flavour. But so much goes into it that they'd never have a barbecue with less than 24 hours notice.
An American barbecue would require a lot of planning and preparation, a little bit more time than an Aussie barbecue where you're just firing up the grill.
In Brisbane, Steve Johnson specialises in the American style of barbecue. His restaurant Blue Smoke using tried and true methods to achieve perfection. One of the techniques is a rub with dry spices.
It's one of the key ingredients to making sure that you're cooking authentic American barbecue.
Smoking the meat using a range of different woods adds another level of flavour.
The majority of the wood that we use is hickory wood. That's going to bring a strong sort of smoky flavour to the meat.
And then it's cooked again.
Right. After it's been smoked for that 3 hours, then we put it on the grill, then mop it with the barbecue sauce, and then you serve it right up. The best moment is when, you know, you've got barbecue sauce all over your face and all over your hands, and you're just getting into it. You have to.
Finger licking.
Absolutely.
When it comes to barbecue sauce, chef Victor Pizzapia is well known on 2 continents. He's owned and run restaurants across the United States and created the popular Rattlesnake Grill in Sydney before starting up hands-on cooking classes to teach techniques and flavours. Much of his influence is from the American West, where ribs are king.
I think ribs probably are soul food for Americans. You know, we sort of started off pre-Civil War when, you know, the hogs were like, you know, just caught and killed and, you know, basically like slow roasted them. And then when you actually put it onto the barbecue, it has that lovely smoky flavour with, you know, really good taste and things like that. So it's really good, yeah.
Victor starts by mixing a dry spice rub using sweet paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, dried oregano and thyme, and the beloved cayenne pepper.
This is a pork rib. Okay, this is fairly traditional. So what I want to do is I want to just put it in some alfoil, and we're going to take some of that beautiful rub and just bring it right on top of the meat. And so you just get that all in there like that. And then use some real American beer. Just add a little bit to the ribs, just on top. So it just sits in the beer a little bit, and then you just cover it over.
The ribs marinate for an hour or 2 and are then baked for 2 hours in a slow oven. Meanwhile, Victor whips up a barbecue sauce in a blender using sautéed onion and jalapeno chilies with fresh tomato puree, a smoked chipotle chili, a spoonful of molasses, brown sugar and chopped garlic.
You don't have to blend it to death.
This is then cooked with white vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, Tabasco and tomato paste.
The very end. Just a couple teaspoons.
Wow, that really darkens up, doesn't it?
So next step is we're going to take that beautiful barbecue sauce and slather it.
Wow.
Slather them a little bit more. Now I think we're just about ready to try some.
Oh, those ones are mine. Oh, look.
Look at how, see how it's falling right off the bone.
Victor.
Babe, that's for you.
Thank you. Oh, Victor.
Melts right in your mouth, doesn't it?
Oh, that's beautiful. Chef Victor Kimball is from Birmingham, Alabama, where the food known as soul food thrives, the traditional cuisine of the African-American population of the southern states. The food using a lot of lard, secondary cuts of meat and vegetables such as corn. Cornbread is a staple.
Cornbread is like the base of everything because you ate it by itself or you ate it with the collard greens or you ate it with the gumbo.
And you'd make it what, every day?
Every day. That's why we grow so big and strong.
You did grow big and strong.
First, polenta. In the States, we call it cornmeal. And then this is self-rising flour. A half a cup of caster sugar. You put just a little pinch of salt in there to take some of the sweet out. And then you'll find in the South, they cook with a lot of butter.
Yes.
A lot of butter.
Yeah.
So for this, I use 3 eggs. It's because I want a nice, fluffy cornbread.
Victor mixes it and adds a cup of creamed corn and some full cream milk. Then spoons the mix into a greased muffin tray and bakes it for 15 to 20 minutes.
If you in the South, because they have that deep Southern drawl, they say, "Now, can I have some of that cornbread?"
Well, can I say that? Can I have some of that cornbread?
You sure can. Have some of this cornbread, girl.
Yummy. The balmy weather and abundant produce of California has led to a style of eating and preparation of food that's different to anywhere else in America. There's a real freshness to ingredients and an emphasis on Mexican food. One dish that typifies Californian cuisine is fish tacos, a recipe originally from Baja California, the northernmost state of Mexico.
Fish tacos was one of those things that, like many things in California, that sort of evolved in California using fresh vegetable ingredients like the salsas and things like that. So it's a very healthy taco.
American-Australian John Boland brought his recipe to Australia when he emigrated 25 years ago. He now rolls tacos in his Aussie Mex takeaway in Byron Bay. John prepares fresh snapper fillets by brushing them with oil, adding lime juice, salt, and a sprinkle of chopped coriander and cayenne pepper.
We can put it right on the barbecue now, or put it in your fridge for a couple hours if you want to, you know.
He tosses shredded cabbage with red onion and chopped coriander and mixes a Baja sauce using sour cream and yogurt, chili powder, lime juice and salt.
And that's your Baja sauce. Here we are once again at one of my favorite spots, doing what I like to do best.
Ah,
Put that on there.
The spicy side first.
Yeah, I want to put a little bit of chili on this. I mean, what would life be without really good chili sauce?
Exactly. Gives a great colour too.
These are corn tortillas.
So you need to heat these to make them pliable?
Yeah, you don't want to eat them raw. I like the flour ones too. I mean, the corn ones are more traditional, but I really like the flour ones.
So is this the smell of California for you? Fish and the tacos on the barbie?
Especially the corn tortillas.
Yeah.
The key here is not to put too much in a fish taco because it's hard to roll. Then we put a bit of the Baja sauce on it. Salsa, cabbage salad.
Okay, show me how you roll a fish taco, John.
Well, if you just put the end in like that, just to hold it so it doesn't fall on you. Plus, if you're lucky, somebody may have a shaker full of margaritas.
Whoa.
You go for it.
Why don't you have the margarita and I'll have the fish taco? Cheers. Thank you so much.
Bien. Salud.
Fish rocks. Very good. No other food has colonised the world's taste buds more than American fast food. For devotees of burgers, fries and hot dogs, there are endless fine distinctions to what makes a perfect result. So, Misty, what makes a really good burger?
You gotta have the flame grill and put a lot of love in it,
Yeah.
as my logo says.
And you don't keep flipping?
Nope.
Only one
don't
time?
Don't touch it, don't mash it, don't stab it, don't let the juices out because you leave it alone. Once you flip it, just leave it. Double whammy.
Misty Singer decided that Melbourne was ready for some of the food her country was famous for. Her diner has been a magnet for expats and Aussies alike. Why do American people love diners, Misty?
Remember the TV show Cheers? Everybody knows your name. Everybody knows your name. When you walk into a diner, it's like coming home, and everybody knows the names of the customers that walk in the door. It's home cooking. It's big roasts, it's big chickens and big meat platters and lots of French fries.
So this is not health food, is it?
Well, I'll be honest with you, it's not something you'd want every day, but...
It's addictive.
Oh, it's very...
So everybody that comes in usually has something that they will order every time?
Every time. And then you just lean over and dig in.
One of the other foods that's travelled the world is southern fried chicken, a recipe thought to have come from the African slaves who often kept their own poultry. The special mix of spices used to coat the chicken spread far beyond the southern states of America.
Southern fried chicken on Sundays when we'd come home from church, and you could just smell it coming. It was just amazing.
Ashley Sheridan is from Memphis, Tennessee, and grew up on the best fried chicken, grits and collard greens made by the family's treasured cook, Blanchie. So, Ashley, this is the chicken in its buttermilk bath?
Yes, I like doing it the whole night. It just makes it melt in your mouth. So what we'll do is we'll sift the flour because we want it to be as fine as possible. And I just dump all of it in. That's the Creole seasoning. This is the onion powder. This is the bay seasoning. This is the tarragon. We've got some dill and a little bit of garlic. Well, actually a lot of garlic. We'll start with one of the easier pieces. This is just good old drumstick. And just roll it around.
And eggs just help it stick that much
together,
more.
yep. It's definitely fun if you like getting your fingers messy. Just get a nice even coat, and then that's it.
What oil do you use?
Just vegetable oil. Now that's got to be really, really hot. One first piece, lay it right in there.
So skin side first, if you can, yeah?
Again, one of the reasons you wear an apron is because it can get all over. You don't want it to cook too long, so you want it to be golden, yeah. See, that's good. Nice golden brown. There we go. We'll stick it in the oven.
I love this, the Memphis Sunday lunch.
This is the Memphis Sunday lunch.
From Miss Ashley, done well.
Thank you.
Thank you. What does make a great crab cake, though?
Well, in the Chesapeake Bay area, the thing that makes a great crab cake is the crab. It's, I'd say, 98% crab meat, and you can't really go wrong with that as long as the crab meat's fresh. So we have blue swimmer crab meat and breadcrumbs, and then a little bit of Dijon mustard, and then a pinch of paprika. And this is cayenne pepper, so just a pinch of that. And this is one of the key ingredients in Chesapeake Bay crab cakes, which is Old Bay seasoning. And so then I usually use one whole egg, and then pretty much just mix it all up.
And you can buy crab sort of pre-picked, can't you?
Yeah, pre-picked, yeah. It saves you a lot of time. And then I like to add a few herbs to mine.
Oh, nice. They look good too.
Herbs, as we'd say in the States. I'm putting a little bit of tarragon. Tarragon and seafood goes really well. And I think it adds a nice little flavor to it.
Beautiful.
Flat leaf parsley. So then finish mixing it up. So the general size would be
generous. So this is an entree, yeah.
Yeah.
They sound really nice and moist as you're putting them together.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So how do you cook a crab cake?
Well, I think the best way is in a cast iron skillet. Pretty much I have it on medium heat, and then you don't want it too hot so the outside burns before the middle gets warm. You don't want to flip them too many times. So you want them to get pretty brown like that before you flip them.
To serve, George plates a generous amount of a Cajun-style spicy tartare sauce, adds the golden crab cake and some baby herbs.
Very classy.
Yum.
Jambalaya is a classic Louisiana Creole dish from New Orleans. The mix of ingredients testament to the unique blending of French, Spanish, African and American influences. Jambalaya is believed to be an attempt to recreate a Spanish favourite, paella, using New World ingredients and a different range of spices.
It's about getting that blend right.
What have you got in your blend?
Boy, a lot of love.
Victor's jambalaya starts with a seasoning mix of paprika, cayenne pepper, dried oregano and thyme.
And that's pretty much it.
Very good.
The veggies, we call it the Holy Trinity. It's capsicum, celery, and onion. You don't want to caramelize it, you just want to get a nice color to it. And then you start adding your spices to it. I'll start with about 2 teaspoons of this first. Very colorful, isn't it?
Beautiful.
And this is garlic. We'll add some of the andouille sausage to this.
What's the nearest substitute for andouille sausage?
I would say chorizo. Chorizo. This is breast of chicken, so I just cube it up. A bit of tomato paste, parboiled rice, long grain rice. It's chicken stock. A bit more of the spice, just a little bit of salt in there. And last but not least, we'll put the tomatoes. Just stir this baby up like that. I'll wait till it comes up to a boil again, and then I'll turn it down low, and then just let it cook on its own.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
That's a nice consistency for your jambalaya.
When it comes to sweets and desserts, the United States does it bigger and better, from brownies to sundaes and all sorts of pies.
Wouldn't be a diner that you don't go into in America that does not have lemon meringue pie, apple pie, pecan pie.
Norma Barn is a former New Yorker who now has a blissful life travelling the world and collecting recipes from the far corners of the planet. For the pie crust, Norma grinds pecan nuts, then adds plain flour, chilled cube butter and a pinch of salt and whizzes the mix together.
Now I've just put in about a quarter of a cup of water, ice water, just out of the tap. And you just hold this on until it forms a ball. Nothing could be easier than that.
That was the 2-second
Have
pie
a look
crust?
here. That's the 2-second pie crust. Wrap it up in a bit of Glad wrap and put it in the fridge for about half an hour.
Once the pastry's chilled, Norma rolls it out and shapes it into a pie tin. She pricks the pastry to stop it rising when she bakes it for 15 minutes.
Break 3 eggs.
Next, the filling, starting with 3 eggs, half a cup of caster sugar, a mix of 3 tablespoons of melted butter and a cup of corn syrup. She adds the toasted pecans and corn flour to thicken the mix, then whisks it together and pours it into the hot pie crust and bakes it for an hour at 180 degrees.
It's a very rich cake, so go easy on the slices, although I have no trouble eating a big piece. We both have something to eat and say, isn't this delicious?
Happiness? That's just sensational.
Yeah. Not too sweet.
Is this bad for you?
No. It's very good for me. It gives me energy.
On our next safari, a journey into the delicious and intricate world of Jewish food.
Do you eat fingers?
No, in the South, we Bells do not eat with our fingers. No. Come on.
You want to stick that in the jambalaya, you want to scoop it up, what we call sopping it up.
Sopping it up
Yeah.
with your cornbread.
With the cornbread.